Okay, so if you guys have followed my feed on Instagram, you know that I have used this Prazi beam saw. This is kind of like a chainsaw. Basically, it's a chain bar, and it is used to mount on a rear handle circular saw, something like a sidewinder, like a rear handle worm drive saw, skill saw. Well, now that battery technology has gotten as amazing as it has, we've got cordless rear handle saws. They're not exactly a worm drive, but they're worm drive like. Their handle's in the back, and we can put the Prazi beam saw. This is an 18-inch beam on the cordless. So I'm going to show you guys how you do that. It's super simple, and when I was getting it and I had to put it on the saw, I didn't see any videos out there that showed this process, so I figured I'd go ahead and do it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to locate the blade changing tool and the button here that you have to push in order to change the blade. Otherwise, you'll just spin this forever and it will just keep spinning, because obviously this is meant to spin, right? So most of you guys are going to know this already. Push this button in, turn it until you feel the locking position. There we go, you heard it. Now keep that button pushed in. And where am I at? There we go. And then it'll allow you to break that nut free. Okay, we're going to take this off and take the blade out. Now all these pieces that we're taking off, you're going to want to make sure that you save them, because if you ever want to take the Prazi beam off and use the saw like a normal circular saw, which I'm assuming you will want to do, you don't want to lose any of these pieces. Okay, take the next bushing off. That's where the blade sits. And then what you got here, and it's going to be hard to see, but there's a snap ring that is around this collar right here. We need a really small screwdriver for that. So what you got to do is you got to get in here, you got to locate the end of it, and then you're just going to work it up, kind of in a circular motion. I found it easiest to just kind of turn the saw, and once you get it about halfway, it gets a lot easier. It's going to make a liar out of me. You want to be careful. You don't want to overbend this thing, because like I said, you will want to put this back on at some point. So this is what it looks like. It's basically a spiral snap ring. Okay, take that off. Then when that happens, now the blade guard is able to be removed. You have to remove the blade guard on both the DeWalt FlexVolt rear handle as well as the Makita. I don't believe you have to do that on like a Mag 77 worm drive. So when you take the blade guard off, there's going to be a little spring, and that's what keeps the blade guard always wanting to go close. You're going to set that aside. You don't want to lose that. Now we've got our saw. You're going to make sure it's open all the way, and now's a good time to clean this out a little bit. So I'm going to grab a rag. I'm just going to get all the sawdust and garbage that's sitting in here. Going to get it out. Okay. Then this is where it's super easy. You're going to take your Prazi. You're going to slide it in. You're going to line it up over the hole. You're going to take two of the, let's just do this first. Let's go ahead and put this bolt on loose. We won't over tighten it yet. You got to make sure that you have the right bolt. Originally when I got this from Tool Barn, it came with a bolt that was made for a different saw. So you want to make sure that when you purchase this, if you do online, specify which saw you're going to be putting it on, because there are different sized bolts. And then the last thing you got to do, or last thing you got to put on, is you've got two bolts that are going to go on the guard adjuster rail here. Pretty simple. Pop these two in. And I always like to just go ahead and do everything pretty loose at first until you get it exactly where you want it, so don't over snug it. Okay, so now that I've got everything kind of loose, all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is opened all the way, and that's about it. For whatever reason, the DeWalt changing tool is just just like barely too big. So instead I've got to use a half inch wrench here. Let's see, I'm going this way. Come on. This bolt, it could be metric. Yeah, let me grab a metric. I do believe that's 13. Aha, much better. Okay, I was a liar. It's 13 millimeters. So push your button back in to lock it. I'm gonna go ahead and hand tighten it as much as possible. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna tighten these guys. You don't want this coming off. Now I know there are some kits to put oilers and add oilers to this, so that's about as simple as it gets. You now have the ability to go cut down a tree, and in about 10 minutes time, you can go back to cutting 2x4s. So pretty cool. One thing I will say about this tool though is that you definitely you want to pay attention to your surroundings and what you're doing, because this thing could get away from you real quick. It's super powerful, and if you guys want, you can go check out my Instagram feed. There's some videos of me cutting logs with this thing, but I'll throw one up just so you can see it in some action.
I think I could cut 3.